Welcome back. This is Learning Notes by Learning the Intervals of Fourths and Fifths with Gene Petty. Take a look down at these little items here. Fourth, fifth, fifth, fourth. And you can see the distance between the two. If you look at them closely, you can count the line, space, gives you a fourth. Those notes are E and A. And you look at the fifth next to it, you know that that's an A on the bottom, and we count up space, line, space, line, space, and that gives us the fifth. Those notes are A and E. So in the first measure, we have a fourth, E and A, and a fifth, A and E. Now we have a fifth in the next measure, which is E to B. Count them. Line, space, line, space, line. A fifth. Now, if we flip the E up on top an octave higher, we get a fourth. So there's B to E, the last set of notes. Yeah, so just as octaves are unisons turned upside down, fourths are fifths turned upside down, and vice versa. C to G is a fifth. G to C is a fourth. As octaves and unisons are called perfect, fourths and fifths are also called perfect intervals. They remain perfect when flipped into the other. This will not occur with all intervals. Other intervals will tend to change their names from, major to minor. So remember when we counted up the scale to the fourth and fifth notes, that gave us A as the fourth note, because we started on E. E, F, G, A was the fourth note, and B was the fifth note. Let's look at that whole lineup again. So there's our E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. 8 notes, outlined by an octave of 2 E's. Now, we're going to look at the fourth. Look at the very bottom, and you'll see E, F, G, A. That creates a fourth. One more step, and it'll be 5. The B would be a fifth. Now remember, the numbers on the tab do not correspond with the numbers assigned to letter names in the bottom row. The numbers on the tab represent the frets on particular strings. Okay? They have nothing to do with each other. We're more concerned right now about those numbers in the last third row there on the bottom, because they correspond with how we count intervals. Now, E to A is 4 steps, and E to B is 5 steps. E to A is called an interval of a perfect fourth. E to B is called an interval of a perfect fifth. So, keep this in mind. Always count up from the bottom note. Now, I want you to hear these notes right now, and you can get your guitar out too and figure out where these notes are located. Okay, the E, you remember from a video ago, on the D string, play that E on the 2nd fret. Now, fourth will be also on the 2nd fret, A. Together, listen to the sound. That's a fourth. Now we raise the E to an octave higher, and we keep the A the same. We'll have a fifth. It's a whole other sound. Same notes, but when they're turned upside down, they have a whole nother sound. Let's take a look at the fifth next to it, the B to the E. The E to the B. There's your fifth sound. And then if we take the E, bring it up an octave, we have the B, the same B, and the E create a fourth. There's your fourth sound. Now, the guitar is tuned in basically fourths. From E counting up 4, we get A. That'd be space, line, space, line. In this case, ledger lines. E, A. Now, A to D. That's a fourth. D to G. You should be playing along here. D to G. And now we're going to play the B to E. They're all fourths. When you can identify the sound of an interval, it'll help you when reading. If you're looking at notes and you see that the next note is a fourth and you can recognize it, then you can just say, oh, it's on the next string. So I'm going to hit any random note on my guitar and move one string over on the same fret. Now, if I didn't know either note, if I happened to know the bottom note but didn't know the top note, I'd be able to play the top note just by recognizing it on the sheet music as a fourth. So that can come in pretty handy. Now, this rule doesn't apply on the G string because it's not tuned in a fourth to the B. That's a different interval. That's called a third. Here's your G string and here's your B string. Not the same sound. A fourth has a distinct sound. And one of the most famous examples in pop music is Santana's Black Magic Woman, where just before they go into the Gypsy Queen, the transition period, Santana repeats D-A, 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 and it sounds like this. I'm going to play it on a WAV file here. There you go, D-A, D-A. And when someone could take two notes like that and make them sound interesting, you definitely have a master melodist. Now, for exercise 9, play, say, read the notes of the open strings. You obviously can't say them all at the same time, E, A, D, G. So, one at a time, we're going to say E, look at the note, A, look at it, D, and G. Okay? And then there is B and E too. Alright, so spend some time looking at those notes. They're all piled on top of each other. And now we're going to go on to fifths. So if you're a hard rocker, then you know what's coming up. Fifths are what make power chords. Any power chord you show me, I can show you an interval of a fifth. Same rule applies to the low E string with a fifth up. Now that you know, well, that would be this open E string and the fifth. Okay, so now that you know what a fifth is, and you see one written, you can see either the other position to play the same fifth. So instead of E to A played from the open string in the 2nd fret, simply bring the A to the 5th fret and the E to the 7th fret. It still has the same power chord configuration. Here's open string A I'm playing, and then that E on the 2nd fret, sound of a fifth. But now watch as I go up to the 5th fret in the picture here. Same fifth, same power chord. Now, move it over a string, and so your bottom note is going to be a D, and you get another fifth. Same thing will happen as you move sideways. Anywhere you go, as long as you have this configuration of 2 frets apart and the next string, you'll have what are called fifths. You can do the same thing on the D, which is located up on the 10th fret. So there we have 3 ways to play the same fifth. D-A, up on the 5th fret now, D-A, and on the 10th fret. 3 different ways to play these fifths. Now, on this exercise, which you're not really prepared for, but you don't have to be, we're going to play 6 power chords up the E string and read them. So, the bottom, E, and the 2nd fret A string create E to B, the 5th. Hear that sound. Okay, sound a little familiar? Now we're going to move that up, the whole configuration, 1 fret. F, C, a 5th. Now we're going to move that up a fret. Read the notes. That's F sharp, C sharp. Perfect 5th. Move it up another fret. G, D. Perfect 5th. Hear the sound. G sharp, D sharp, G sharp, D sharp. Perfect 5th. A to E. Now you know we can move this A to E up to the A string and the E on the 2nd fret of the D string. And that's going to be the next part of this exercise. A, E, A sharp, E sharp. By the way, another name for A sharp and E sharp would be B flat and F. B flat and F. Now moving it up, we have B, F sharp, B, F sharp. Frets 2 and 4. Frets 3 and 5, C and E. I'm sorry, C and G. Sound of a perfect 5th. C sharp, G sharp. Listen to that sound. You can identify the interval by the sound. And a D to an A. So this whole exercise would sound like this. And that's your short little video for common fifths, fourths and fifths you can find on the guitar. And we're going to look into more of this sort of thing in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Gene Petty.